name's Richard, this is We're Not Wizards, and today we're looking at Pendulum from Stonemaier Games, which is for 1 to 5 players. It's designed by Travis Jones. The artwork is by Robert Leask, and I'm just going to keep taking my glasses on and off throughout this review because I feel like it. Look, this is real time. It's a real time game, which means I'm just doing the one take. I'm not even going to edit. I'm just going to run, and yeah, that's what's going to happen. So you can time me. I've got egg timers aplenty. Let's get one thing clear. First of all, we were provided this copy by Stonemaier Games to provide a review. And this game itself has been a little bit of a darling of the internet. There has been discussions about Pendulum of late, across a whole different kind of things to do with coverage and stuff like that, as well as the fact that Pendulum is a real-time game. Now, real-time games are quite interesting because there's not that many of them about, where people are all interacting at once in order to try and win the kind of the game itself. In fact, the last kind of real-time kind of game I could think about was maybe Twinnet. Magic Maze is another real-time game as well, but on a different kind of level. Pendulum is, as I say, is a kind of a resource management game where you are trying as a noble to basically show that you've got enough stuff in order to take over from the timeless king, and you'll do that by having and moving your workers about this plateau of loveliness, where at the same time you're kind of tied to kind of taking actions or moving workers depending on where these timers kind of are, and it takes about 4 rounds. But you can have as kind of as many actions as you want, provided that you can kind of take actions, and then once everybody's taken actions, you'll have like a council thing, and then at the end of the 4th round, everybody has a big party, and we decide who's the winner. So that's good. Yeah. I'm very, very on the fence about this one, I'll be honest. I was swinging both ways when I had my thoughts about this, basically. Because I'm a Stonemaier fan, I must admit. Give me some Scythe, I'm a happy man. Give me some My Little Scythe, I'm a happy man with happy kids. Give me, a little bit of viticulture, I shall be a cultured happy man. Give me a bit of Charterstone, then I will be a happy man in a village with stickers. So to cover this, it's a bit hard for me. It's a bit difficult, and you deserve to know why. Let's start off with the kind of the niceties, and the whole thing looks really nice. It follows up to the kind of the normal standards of a Stonemaier kind of production. Thick boards, chunky components, nice art. Plastic components though. Must admit, I was a bit surprised when I first saw the components were plastic as opposed to the normal kind of wooden ones that I've come to expect from the kind of the Stonemaier family. The card art is striking, lovely, workable. Very, very similar. And you've got these lovely, colourful, beautiful kind of Provence cards that you can take over in the game in order to give you kind of extra stuff. Basically, all you're doing is when a timer is on your row, you can take an action. When a timer is off your row, you can move your meeples about by adding them on. So you're effectively kind of loading up your meeples so that it can take an action on the turn. Now that action might be, it's all about kind of increasing your levels on your cards. You have things from like your popularity to your wisdom to kind of like your strength or your might. And the idea is, as the game goes on, you're going to be trying to push yourself into the kind of the scoring zone, because once you get in there, then it's happy days. As long as you kind of also can get the you can get the big kind of prestige kind of token as well. You can take over provinces. It's really difficult because kind of government and politics. If you say tapestry, you know it's all about civilization. If you say pendulum, there's just not a strong theme here. And that's really to the game's detriment. It's almost as if the case that in a real-time game, you kind of want to understand in any game you will kind of want to understand the aims that you're going for to kind of give you a clue. And when a game is kind of like this kind of complicated in some ways, to have a kind of a nondescript kind of wishy-washy kind of theme doesn't serve it any good whatsoever. I mean, I don't need to be telling anybody their job, but if this had been like, hey, this is a watchmaker's and the watchmaker is about to pass his entire watch business to one of their best apprentices, so they want to see somebody who knows how to manage time itself and use time in order to, make pieces that are popular, make pieces that are precise, make pieces that are going to sell kind of thing, then you would kind of have an idea of what you were meant to be doing. Whereas in this, it's kind of like you try to get up the victory track for victory track's sake. It doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. It's just a bit weak. And because of that, well, for me anyway, the desire to kind of keep playing, it was too easy for you to strip it back, for you just to look at it from a point of view. And I know some people play games like that. I know some people who play games and they're able to kind of like dissect a game down to its kind of core mechanics and know exactly what they're meant to do in order to win the game. But for everybody else, the theme helps kind of bring everything on. It kind of helps kind of push you forward. It also in many ways it helps kind of bring you back into the fold. And for Pendulum, because the theme isn't that strong, or doesn't seem to make a hell of a lot of sense, it's very quickly it strips back into making sure that making sure that your numbers are there and that you're pushing these in the right direction, and that kind of hurts it for me. The other thing is, it's not a simple game. It takes about an hour to an hour and a half to play. For a real-time game, that's a bit long. Because there's no downtime. In games with resource management, maybe it's just me because I'm a bear of a very small brain. For me, resource games need a bit of downtime while you kind of plan your next move, so you know where things are going to be going in order to kind of push yourself forward. And in Pendulum, there seems to be, unless you get to like the council, the call of the council parts of the game, everything else is kind of pretty much kind of full on, and everybody's on it all the time, which means that it's quite tiring at the end of it, because you're kind of on it. You're kind of, I'm going to put this, I'm flipping this here, great. That means all the actions take place here. Okay, this is down here, this means this has to flip over, and it's like, well, you can flip it over if you want to, or you can leave it, but 9 times out of 10, if you're playing with somebody else, they are going to flip it over, which means you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I better take my actions. And if for whatever reason you're not taking your actions when you're meant to take your actions, when the egg timer is there, then you can't take the action. So you're constantly kind of scanning over it like some kind of egg timer guarding hawk, making sure that you're placing your workers and your Grande workers in kind of like the right place, so you can then get your actions so you can then collect your revenue, and it's a bit tiring for me because I'm old and stupid, but because of that, that's it means that also it's quite difficult to teach. What I mean by that is that because everything is real time and because everything is happening at once, that people can make mistakes, but it's not until you've gone through a chain of events and everybody's settled down and the whole thing's stopped and the dust settled that people can go, well, I didn't actually realise that I wasn't allowed to kind of do that. So it can be a bit runaway sometimes, and it can leave people kind of, if everybody's at the same level of competence, then it's fine. If people are kind of just beginning out, then that's when you really need to flick to the kind of the non-timer kind of version of the game, which in itself kind of plays fine, but then it's the same thing again. It's kind of getting stripped down to, well, why the hell am I doing this in the first place? Which is really kind of disappointing. I don't know if it was the case that maybe they had a really simple theme and they decided that they needed, a simple theme like running a breakfast bar wasn't Stonemaier sexy enough, or running a watch factory wasn't Stonemaier sexy enough, which I completely understand, but also at the same time, considering a couple of the other games have been about birds, the other one's been about wine, one of them's been about government, one of them's been about war, it kind of baffles me a little bit as to why this is the one that they've decided to kind of take such an abstract kind of theme. And because of that, the artwork, while it's lovely, you're just sitting there going, what? Man, it does nothing for me at all. Because it's a real shame. Because I reckon once you've had kind of, if you get into your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th game of this and everybody else is in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th game of this will rattle along quite nicely. But does it also lean into the fact that once you've played it for a while, everybody knows what they're meant to be doing, and so there's optimal play and there's suboptimal play? I have no idea. I'm not disappointed, because I kind of went into this knowing it's a real-time game, and I knew a real-time game was always going to be tricky to kind of critique even, because everybody's experience is going to be different. Some people are going to hate this, having to think on their feet. Some people are going to absolutely love it because they're going to be sitting there all the time, kind of doing that, just rattling through, and it's going to be like, bing, I've got it, win, and that's it. And other people are going to be, I don't know, Marge, is this an egg? Kind of thing. And in the flurry of battle and in the heat of moving these about, these things do kind of have a tendency to kind of get knocked over. And other people have mentioned it. I'm not going to mention it again, but I like it how it's duels. I don't like it how it couldn't. If it had been just a normal egg timer on like a little wider wooden base, it would have been a lot better served. So I kind of wanted to like it, because I like the premise behind it. I like the kind of the art behind it. I've been dabbling about with the Auto Potato, and I just felt flat. I'd rather if it was like a resource management kind of game that was looking to balance up kind of popularity and might and resources, then I'd go and bring side to the table, to be perfectly honest. Once you strip this away, it's just the numbers. It's collecting stuff in order to build up a bar chart in order to win. And because of that, Pendulum kind of swings to the no, you're alright, as opposed to the get this back to the table. Yeah. So that's Pendulum, Stonemaier Games. My name's Richard. This is We're Not Wizards. You can support the show in a number of ways. You can drop a subscription, drop us a like. You can leave us a comment if you've played the game. Let us know what you think about it. We have a Patreon if you want to support us financially. but all support is greatly received. But until the next time, stay safe, roll sixes, make something awful, and I didn't really want to come here like a wrecking ball. Schwergen.